This episode of Grilled is sponsored by Rationale, your leading provider in multifunctional hot food preparation equipment. Register now for a free Rationale live demo at www.rationale-online.com. Thanks for downloading Grilled by the Staff Canteen. I'm Cara, the editor of the Staff Canteen, and in this episode I spoke to Jack Stein following the criticism of the Stein Group last week as the Daily Mail reported they had told staff across their restaurants that they would receive no pay from March 21st until government grants came through. Jack puts the record straight and tells the company's side of the story. He explains that the group wanted to tell staff early the situation they were facing so they could put things in place financially. The company looked at the cash flow coming out of the winter season and realised that they would go bust by the end of April. The weekly wage bill is £250,000. He also says that they're now happy to talk about the fact they have pandemic insurance cover, but they are yet to have the claim accepted. He is putting pressure on insurers to pay out, as this will allow them to pay staff for 2 years up to £50 million. So this is for our podcast, Grilled. So thank you for agreeing to do it.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm sure obviously you've spoken to a lot of people over the past few days. So I think probably the best place to start is obviously the company and your dad, it took quite a battering on social media after that article. So with that in mind, let's start with the realisation that tough decisions had to be made to save the business and protect the future of, obviously your staff's employment. So let's start with when that kind of happened and then what has led from that.
Yeah, so it started obviously as with everyone in the industry with the realisation that the pandemic was declared a pandemic, and we were all quite aware that our industry was going to be quite hit quite badly because we are hospitality and hotels and everything, and we're a people industry, and if people are spreading the virus around, it was going to affect us. So we immediately took to look at our cash flow, because obviously restaurant companies need cash to run. Once your cash runs out, you cease to be. So we immediately started to look at forecasts of how much cash we had. Obviously coming out of winter time, it's a bad time for seasonal businesses like ours, which make a lot of money in the summer. So it was the worst time for us to hit. But we were very fortunate, or it was good planning actually, that we had arranged special pandemic cover about a decade ago. So after the SARS thing happened, the insurance companies added a clause to the disruption of business part of your insurance, and that we had to pay extra for pandemic cover. And
it's very expensive as well, isn't it, that particular cover?
It's extremely expensive, yeah. You're talking, we paid well over six figures, a lot more than that over the course of the time we've had it. It's a third more than your standard insurance. So, but we took the view that being that we are a seasonal business, and in winter time these pandemics do hit, and if it hits us in winter time when we have no cash flow, that's really going to affect us.
Yeah, because this is something that's really that's really caught people out, isn't it? This extra clause in your insurance, it's quite. Yes. It has really not something that everyone can afford, for one, or two would think would be something that they needed anyway.
Exactly, and so we instantly thought, right, we got an expert in insurance to come in, a lawyer, and all the rest of it. We started looking. We put the claim together. We instantly went to the insurance company and said, we have got this. We are happy. We obviously weren't. We understood that a lot of people in our industry didn't have it, so we kind of weren't. We were sort of not keeping it to ourselves. We just were like, we're just going to crack on, because you can never be guaranteed with insurance. The analogy they made is if your house is burning down and you watch it burn down, you won't get paid. If your house is burning down and you send for the fire brigade, you're mitigating the amount of the claim. Therefore, you're more likely to get paid. So we had to act like a normal business without insurance. So what we did is instantly looked at our cash flow. Our cash flow was saying we were going to go bust at the end of April. Completely bust, no money left. We're out of the game. We lose 650 employees. So we were like, right. Then the government furloughing scheme came, and we were like, that is great, because that means that our cash flow now pushes us to August, which means we've got time to get the insurance money or the emergency business loan together. We've got enough time.
Yeah.
But what we really felt, and we've been completely open and honest with our people. With the amount of support and messages from our people we've got, everybody knows, because we are talking to them daily. We have an internal Facebook. We talk to them daily and let them know what's going on. They understand that we are trying to get this insurance money or the emergency bank loan. But actually, for us, the emergency bank loan that's for everyone else in the industry that doesn't have the insurance. Let them concentrate on that, because we don't need it. We have insurance, So we expected insurance to at least accept our claim. But what we then did was tell our staff, listen, this is how much cash flow we've got. This is when the last payment run will be the 10th of April. It'll be for 2 weeks that you worked up until the day of closure. And that is the truth. If the insurance money comes in between now and then, or the bank agrees that because we've got insurance, we can afford to pay you, to give you more of an overdraft, we will pay you in full. And we are still working to that deadline. But we told them early because we wanted them to be prepared. We wanted them to know that they could go out and speak to their mortgage advisor, their renter, do all the steps that they needed to take, rather than just telling them on the 10th, you're not getting any more money, because we thought that was the right thing to do for our people. So when the Daily Mail article came out, it said Rick Stein refuses to pay. That headline is completely misleading. If you read the details in the article, it's saying if the insurance comes through or the emergency bank loan comes through, we will pay. But unfortunately, we got lumped in with the likes of Wetherspoons and Virgin and all these other people, and people are saying, Rick, put your hand in the thing. And it's been a nightmare, a real nightmare for me. And I personally, because we have done everything the right way for our people. Our people are right behind us. We don't want to lose a single job. We want to reopen all of our restaurants like everyone does. But now, and this is the point I'm trying to make now, is I'm not going to sit here and not tell people about this insurance cover that we've got, because we have it and we need it paying. And unfortunately for other people in the industry, I feel very sorry that they don't have it. But when we're being singled out by the Daily Mail, I'm now saying, we've got it, we made a smart move, they need to pay us.
Yeah, and obviously you are a massive company, but it doesn't matter how big you are. I don't know if you agree, but all restaurants, all small businesses, all businesses have been backed into a corner, really, and we're waiting on, obviously once the government said what they said, there was a little bit of a sigh of relief. But in that moment beforehand, you were kind of just guessing as to what you could do going forward, right?
Yeah, well, we were going out of business. There's no two ways about it. Without the furloughing scheme coming in, the cash flow wouldn't have lasted more than a couple of weeks from where we are. We have no money. We lose money. Our business loses money from November till May. We don't, but again, this is part of us as a business. It's why we're in the top 100 businesses to work for. We look after our people. We make sure they're all employed all year round, even though we're highly seasonal, even though we now have a restaurant in London and other places which are less so. But the fact of the matter is that our whole industry is in the weeds, and there's every other restaurant company, other companies are making people redundant, they're doing other things. This furloughing scheme is going to help us all in the short term. But the fact of the matter is, we came out and released that information to our staff early because we wanted them to plan. And therefore, with Rick's name above the door, we got it in the neck from the Daily Mail. And I think it's completely unacceptable in a time when our entire industry is in the weeds. We have no idea. We have no real we still don't know when the government scheme is going to start to pay, how people can get paid like this, and it's just. And that kind of gutter reporting from the Daily Mail, it's just unnecessary at this time when our livelihoods are at line. We might not have if the insurance doesn't come through, we still will go bust in August. There's no two ways about it if we're not reopened, and that's 650 jobs gone. So it's not like everybody's in the same boat. But it's just like, you just think, we don't need this. Nobody needs it. At this time, why are you reporting on this kind of thing and sensationalising it? We employ 650 people. The suppliers that rely on us, everything, we're having to tell them now, we're going to have to pause on your payments until this insurance comes through. But at the end of the day, we're being singled out. So I don't mind saying we're insured. We took the insurance. We made a smart move. And we just need to pressurise the insurance companies, because I've now heard of other people who are in the same boat that've got insurance, and they're all worried now that they're not going to get it. I can tell you one thing for sure: the insurance companies better pay up, because this pandemic cover is going to go through the roof when we get through this, because everyone's going to want it. And if they don't, we're going to stand up and say, don't bother, because they're not going to pay you anyway. We're talking, 300,000 or 400,000 pounds we've paid this company. And our specialists have said, you need to start going out there and going for them and saying this is not acceptable, because we are being singled out. Every single supplier, every single member of our staff will be paid if they just agree that we've got a claim. That's all they need to do. Just agree that they haven't even done that. They've appointed a loss adjuster, and that's it. And we're on the phone to them 3 times a day.
So you're still in limbo, which is a horrible place to be.
Yeah, and it's, you know, and people say, oh, well, Rick can put his hand in his pocket. And I said, well, the situation's like you have third-party insurance, right? And then you buy the comprehensive insurance, and then you have a crash, and you want to fix your car up, and you say, right, I want to get it done because of my work car, but I'm going to use my own money. You wouldn't use your own money until you're guaranteed the insurance says you are covered for this, up to say £10,000, and then you go, right, I can take a bank loan out because I know it's coming back. It's the same situation for us. We're covered for 24 months for £50 million. So even if the furloughing scheme ends, we're still going to be all right.
Yeah.
I don't really want to shout about this, but the point I'm trying to make is that we have been singled out as if we're not paying our staff, and that is not true. Our staff are paid to the 10th of April, and when the furloughing scheme comes in, they'll get back paid 80%. And when our insurance comes in, we will top up to 100%. And then once the furloughing scheme finishes, even if we're closed, we'll still pay our staff because we'll have the insurance.
Yeah. Yeah, so that in mind.
Sorry, I'm a bit of a rant.
No, not at all. Well, this is what this is for. So that in mind, how does it make you feel that someone obviously took that to the Daily Mail from within your staff and your company? Because you said it was them who you let know. So what do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, our staff are very, very loyal to us, and we haven't had, other restaurant companies that have recently announced massive redundancies. You've seen the amount of chefs in front of house that have come out and said this is unacceptable. You know, this is a background person who's said this. It's not, the amount of message support we're getting from within is incredible. So at the end of the day, it only takes one person to go to the press, but they're not quoted there. There's not reams of people saying that we've treated them badly, because the simple fact is they're not. There's somebody who's worried for their future. That's fine. That I understand. That's completely. But we've been completely open with people. They know as much as we do about the situation. And the fact of the matter is, if the insurance money comes in before the 10th of April, nobody will miss a single payment of wages. In actual fact, it goes a bit further than that. They're paid 2 weeks from the 10th of April. So 2 weeks after the 10th of April, that's the point at which I would imagine people would turn around and say, we're not got any money now. Now we're feeling a bit disgruntled. And if the insurance money hasn't come in by that point, then, I know Rick is going to start talking about it in the media and saying this is unacceptable. We're going to put massive pressure on them to pay. But at the end of the day, we let them know early for the right reasons. Because if you see now, other restaurant companies are letting people know so close to the deadline because they're trying to figure out what to do because they haven't got the cover. We thought 100% by now we would have had at least an acknowledgement from the insurance company that we have a claim. Yeah. And that's all we need. Just, we're talking about, we told our staff 10 days ago, and we've got till the 10th of April. In that time, if we haven't had something from the insurer, then that is terrible on their part.
Yeah.
Really bad. And I don't blame the person that went to the Daily Mail at all. I don't blame them because they probably didn't realise in our internal statements. And what I've said is, in our internal messaging at the beginning, we didn't say we had specialist pandemic cover. We just said we're talking to our insurers. And I think that if we'd said to them, we've spent 30 grand a year on this special cover, we are covered for this, unlike many other restaurant companies, I think they probably might have thought twice. But the fact of the matter is, if somebody says we're talking to our bank and talking to our insurers, it sounds so wishy-washy. So our messaging wasn't probably exactly right there, but we at the time were a bit, not embarrassed, but we knew that other people in the industry didn't have the cover that we did, But now we're being singled out by the Mail. I have no problem saying it. We made a good decision. We made the right judgment, and we want to get paid.
Yeah, so those kind of repercussions for you guys then on social media, it's not a nice place to be, is it? On the I know there was positive as well, but on the negative side of it, it must be quite upsetting personally and as a business. Do you think it's because you're a large company that people feel like you're an easy target?
No, I think it's because they think Rick's rich and that he can put his hand in his pocket, and people have a figure that they think he's worth. Which is, and the people don't realise, he doesn't have cash in his pocket. Our wage bill is £250,000 a week. We employ 650 people. Our money is tied up in the property that we've bought with our profits and reinvesting money into our business. We reinvest almost all of our profits. We don't take dividends. Our top haven't had a dividend for a couple of years, and our top execs have all foregone their pay as a result of this thing. You know, we are a family business, and we don't have that kind of cash just lying around. People, we're not billionaires. We're not, able to just bail out our own company to that amount, because cash flow is cash. Is not, wages aren't buildings. We could sell one of our restaurants, but if we did that, we sell St. Petrock's, it's probably worth half what it would be normally at the moment, because it's not even open, and who knows when it will be. We sell that, we give that to the staff, then the insurance money comes back, and we try and buy the building back, and somebody goes, well, we're not going to sell it back to you for the same price. It's like it's like a pawn shop. It doesn't make any sense. And then also, if you don't get the restaurant back after selling it, which you wouldn't be able to do because there's no market for it, you're just giving 40 people no job to come back to. We want to keep our restaurants open. And it's just, it's one of those things. It was one of those situations that we're in where we're all learning. We're all in a completely uncharted territory. And the idea that the average person that shouts stupid stuff on Twitter thinks that we can just magic up £250,000 a week. And I started to answer them, and I started to explain to them. And then I just thought, you know what, I'm the only people I care about is our industry and our customers. And our customers know what we're doing, because they talk to our staff, and they'll know. They will know when we reopen we have all the same staff. It's not like we've made everyone redundant, we're going to get new staff or anything like that. So, yeah, I wish they could see the messages, the video messages, the messages of support we've received as a family and as a business, but I don't really want to share them with the wider public, because you know what? It's none of their business. We're trying to fight tooth and nail for our people. It's not, and we've made smart decisions which should secure the long-term future of this business, and we're very fortunate, and I feel very sorry for those that haven't done that. But at the end of the day, when you're being attacked by the Daily Mail, and the kind of comments that come out of Daily Mail readers sometimes can be quite nasty, and especially when they're personally against my dad, I get angry and I get defensive. Because my dad is, I love the guy, and I find it very, very. I find it hard not to reply. It's part of it, and that's because I'm. It's hitting me emotionally, because it's not just my dad. It's the 650 employees that I've known, some of them my whole life. People have worked for us for 45 years. It's not. These are people I can't imagine life without them. My auntie Smelia, she's been there 35 years. Our HR lady, she's been there 38 years. I don't remember life before these people. And for the people in the Daily Mail just like slagging us off, it upset me, let's put it that way. And that is the most least kitchen way of saying what I was meant to say.
I can imagine it was pretty hard to read some of that stuff. Looking back now to obviously before the lockdown and everything like that, you guys sound like you were pretty prepared. But do you think that possibly the hospitality industry in the UK was a bit naive as to what was coming, even though it was being reported across the world?
Look, I think at the end of a long period, with Brexit and all these other things that have happened in the last year, I think people would just, it's like the timing of everything is just so catastrophic for everybody, and I think that, I think the whole world just was being a bit like the public have been just, until we were told to close, there were restaurants going, should we not, do we owe it to our suppliers and our staff to stay open? Should we, it was so confusing. And after Brexit, there's so much misinformation and people who just don't understand the basic science or economics of it. I don't think we can blame anybody for being a bit naive to it. I think that the insurance companies, by factoring out this pandemic cover from your standard cover, did a number, but I think that they've basically managed to get out of this, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that we need to think about going forward is that when the things that you cannot anticipate happening, like something like this, they're unprecedented. We need the industry, we need us to support each other and to say, look, this is what we need, and this is how we're going to get it, because we're an outlier, and I wish every restaurant company was covered like we are, but it clearly, nobody is hardly that I've heard. I've only got a couple of occasions on Twitter people said we've got cover, but yeah, I guess we were unprepared. I think we were I don't know. We've just taken it in the neck so hard over the past year, our industry, and it's soul destroying. But now this time of lockdown, I'm just thinking about our people and their families, and as much as I want to help the rest of the industry as much as I can as we reopen, and we're going to reopen Padstow and reopen our restaurants and get together with people like Paul Ainsworth and all these guys, and we're going to smash it when we reopen. At the moment, we're bunkering down, and I just want to make sure that our staff are looked after and make sure we get this insurance money, because then we can pay them for probably until a vaccine is developed. We're talking a long time we got covered for. So I don't know. I feel so sorry for so many people. I mean, it's not just our industry. I mean, we're just setting up some food delivery services to the NHS down at our local hospital, and I've been doing. We've been doing free food to the local community over the last 2 weekends, and we're doing everything we can to help. And you realise people are in way better shape than we are. And at the end of the day, we will come out of it. We will come out of this. Our industry is an amazing industry where people help each other. But at the moment, with all our businesses closed, we need to help those most vulnerable and people who need it. Yeah. And for us, we're prioritising the local NHS hospital and the people in Padstow and St Mary and the local villages that can't shop. So we're getting free fish pies this Sunday. Last week we're getting free roast dinners, and it's amazing to see other restaurants doing the same. Like Paul's done something similar. You see it all over social media. I don't know. I'm rambling.
No, these are the stories obviously that are amazing and need to be celebrated. What's that kind of experience, that side of it, to come away from the negativity a little bit? What's that been like for you? And is it your staff that are volunteering to do that with you?
Yeah. I mean, we can't. We've got so many volunteers. Obviously, a lot of them are volunteering for the NHS, and we're keeping them. Going. We're doing we have all these social things now every week. We're doing catch ups on house party, and we're doing with exercise things for the staff. We're doing we've got a whole social package for people who are at home for our staff, and that's what we're doing for everybody. And then me and a group of our chefs are just going in, and we're taking we're getting stock that we've got, and we're using it up, and we're trying to help the community. And then the NHS thing, which is we're just finalising the details now. We've just got we're going to take curries down to their area where they're going to have a chill out after their services, and we're just going to take that not for profit. Just going to ask for a small donation from them to go to a homeless charity in Truro, because obviously the NHS workers, they're getting paid, and but we're not making profit off this. This is just for them. And it's just all of our excess food we gave to the food bank. All this kind of stuff that you do, because you're just going how can we help? Because we are all sat here, creative people, going, what can we do?
Yeah.
And we've got people working on what we're going to do when we reopen, but also people, what can we do now? What feels right? And I've said to the chefs, if it feels right, let's do it. Let's just do it. Let's not waste time. Now is not a time to deal with committees. We want to help as much as we can, and that's been great. The support. I mean, I've never had any reaction like we did roast dinners for Mothering Sunday, and we did 180, I think, and then 300 fish pies this weekend. And you're taking it around to people, they don't even know the food's coming, and they're just in tears. I had some amazing videos from people just saying thank you. It's a small thing you can do, but we've got kitchens, we've got volunteers, and that's what we're going to do, and that's what we're going to do for the foreseeable future, because we can help. We can help people as well. We can just ignore the negativity, ignore the gut press, ignore all that stuff. We're going to get on with it. We're going to help our communities, and we're going to help the NHS, and we're going to go from there.
Brilliant. And what does this mean for a place like Cornwall? Because it's obviously so reliant on tourism. What are the kind of knock-on effects for suppliers? Are boats still going out? What's the kind of what's it like there?
Well, yeah, the boats are still going out. I've just actually picked up some lobsters from our lobster fishermen down at the quay there. The thing is, it's difficult, because our suppliers are so reliant on us, but they know full well that we're insured, and that even if we have to take a bit of a pause because we have no cash flow, they understand that we've made the right call. So we've been completely open with them. But for Cornwall, as international travel is going to struggle for a couple of years, I think. So we're hopeful that people will stay in the UK and vacation down here in Cornwall when we reopen, because at the end of the day, we're all going to be been indoors for a long time, and we're all going to want a nice piece of fish and a nice glass of wine. I think we deserve it.
Yeah, definitely. And finally, kind of, What do you think, I've been talking to a lot of chefs, what do you think the long-lasting kind of impact will be on the hospitality industry as a whole after this?
Well, I mean, I think everyone's going to really appreciate what a luxury it is to be able to go out and eat, and I think that, we're not going to have a lot of money kicking around for the next few years. The bailout's going to hit us. So I think value for money, and I think and enjoyment and experiences, and I think and restaurants working together, being and I think that's what we're seeing that a lot. Groups of restaurants doing the right thing and working together and realizing that that we are better connected than divided, and we're better going, how can we help each other? How can we help those the most needy? How can we, we shouldn't stop giving money, giving food, and giving spare food to the food banks when this ends. This isn't a PR exercise. This is doing the right thing for your communities. And I think, Danny Mayer in his book, Setting the Table, says that that your community where you operate your restaurant should be ahead of your investors in terms of where you place that as importance, because it's where you are. It's that is the thing that I think will come out of this. We're not just going to areas to take money off people. We're going to areas to get involved, to be part of the community, and to help those more vulnerable. Because at the end of the day, we're selling food that most people can't. Not most people, but a lot of people can't afford because they are. They need help, and I think that's the kind of thing that I hope to see out of this. The broader catering community continuing with these kinds of things that we're doing now, because we're sat here doing them now because we can't be in our restaurants, but at the same time we shouldn't stop doing them when we do go into our restaurants. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And you mentioned obviously that your dad Rick's going to start talking about things in the press a bit more. He's obviously been in the industry for decades. Can you tell me what he thinks about the situation and the repercussions?
Well, he's obviously devastated because it's his. Him and Mum started the business 45 years ago. So the amount of work they've put into it, and the amount of hours they put into it, and the fact that to just drive past your restaurant and see them with no one in and no one smiling, and he's a full believer that we will recover and we'll bounce back, and that he calls it the cheeriness of the industry. The fact that we put smiles on people's faces, that's what we need to be doing, and that's what he's focused on, because we all know we work in an industry where you can do a 16-hour day, and then one person says that's the nicest piece of turbot they've ever had, and it makes up for it, And for him and for Mum, it's just seeing those restaurants buzzing again that they're looking forward to. And he's pragmatic. We've got a good business, and we've got great people around us, and we've made some smart decisions that are going to hopefully help us get through this without going bust. And I guess the question is once we know we're secure, is how we can help the other businesses with their security. Because we don't want everyone going bust around us. We want Cornwall to be open for business, and the rest of the places we have business as well. Yeah, no,
definitely. And I think maybe just to end on a slightly lighter note. So you've obviously said that you're doing you're cooking meals, but what else are you doing to keep busy? I've seen inside a lot of chefs' home kitchens on social media recently.
I'm deliberately not doing. I'm not. I was just taking the decision. I'm not lots of great stuff coming out, lots of great content. I shared a picture of a spaghetti bolognese sandwich I had today. I'm not. I've got. I've kind of. This is nothing against you doing it. It's amazing. I love the content. It's making me laugh. Some of the stuff is so creative and so funny. But right now, I'm just. I'm talking about. I'm just trying to concentrate on getting this kitchen set up at Trelisk, and doing the things for the community. And the odd stupid thing. My Instagram's got no filter on it whatsoever. I mean, if people have a look at it, it's just. It's not edited. It's just like rambling thoughts of my own. So I wouldn't begin to start doing sort of how-to videos and this, that, and the other. But if people have approached me to ask them to help them do stuff, and I'll obviously do that. But I mean, it's mostly just pictures of my kids and the odd spag bowl sandwich. So I'm trying to keep it lighthearted, and I'm not, and again, but because I've got some serious work to do in the background, which I need to concentrate on.
I suppose though, at this time does allow you to do things that you wouldn't normally want to do. So things that you probably put off.
Yeah, well, I've got 2 kids under 2, so that's the best thing about it. You know, I get to spend time with my fiance and those, and watch them and grow closer in closer proximity than I would do if I was working in the kitchens.
Yeah. And just to finish, what would you kind of say to some businesses that maybe, you know, they are frightened and they are worried that they're not going to be able to sustain this for, you know, longer than a couple of months?
Well, again, I think we just have to be, we have to hope that the government have a plan for that, because the furloughing thing is great. You know, it's great news for so many businesses drew a massive sigh of relief. You know, we're not sure of the details yet, but we just have to hope that they have something, if the lockdown's going to go on for longer, that they have something that we can look to, and that these loans and deferments and rates and VAT payments and PAYE deferments, that other things like fiscally they can do to help us, those are the things that we need to pressurise them to do as well, because these things are huge. You know, in places like London where you've got business rates through the roof, you know, we need to see further deferrals, VAT payment deferrals, maybe PAYE payment deferrals, all this kind of stuff, because we're just going to need more and more help. But the thing is that the government are dealing with something that unprecedented. So all I can say is we will, as a big restaurant company, we will make sure that our voice is being added to everyone else's, to make sure our industry is being looked after, and hopefully that we get open soon. I mean, that, you know, when we're open, we all talk about each other. We share stories and information about other restaurants, not just our own, because we need to build our industry back again, because at the moment our base is 0.
Yeah. Well, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. And it was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Cara. It's been lovely to talk to you.
We hope you enjoyed this interview, and if you have any comments, feel free to tweet us or comment on the post. We're making all of our interviews available to download. And finally, if you like what we do, whether it's our podcast or our videos or even our features, please head over to our Patreon page and support us there. This episode of Grilled is sponsored by Rationale, your leading provider in multifunctional hot food preparation equipment. Register now for a free Rationale live demo at www.rationale-online.com.